We begin, as always, with our chat with Cowboy head coach Mike Gundy, coming off a win over Iowa State 24-21. And there were a lot of really good things that happened in that game. As you went back and looked at it, what was most impressive to you?
We worked together in all three phases. We had some adversity in each one of them at different times, and we pushed through it as a team. We hadn't had that in the other games. Early in the year, we struggled on offense for a variety of reasons. We had to rally back a little bit, but the defense had stayed strong. Defense got their backs against the wall a couple times yesterday on big plays and things, and they had to rally back. Got put in some unusual situations with three tight ends. Ended up a gap short one or two times. Iowa State had the open week. They put a couple things in that got us in a tough situation on defense. Had to make that adjustment. So we had to rally as a team more in this game than we've had to. Special teams, we stubbed our toe a couple times in this last game. That hadn't happened this year. We were rallied back at special teams. So I was pleased with us as a team working together and finding a way to win the football game, because we hadn't really had the adversity in all three phases in one game prior to Iowa State.
I think the Cowboy backs had a combined 3 catches on the year going into the game against Iowa State, and they had 6 combined, 3 for Jelani Woods, 3 for Logan Carter in the win against the Cyclones. Did you foresee going into the game that they might be a greater option? And schematically, you did some different things with them from a formation standpoint as well.
I thought our offensive coaches had some really good plans scheme-wise against Iowa State. We learn a little more each year about their defense. Now, they've made some adjustments over the last couple of years also, fine-tuning what they think gives them the best chance. And our guys did a good job of using that Cowboy back based on the structure that we see. Had a chance to take some more advantage of it, and we didn't. But what you're saying is correct, and those guys played good football. They were our co-offensive players of the game.
As far as the offensive line is concerned, how much growth did you see having the 3 weeks for those guys to have a chance to practice together? Did you see improvement, significant improvement, Iowa State compared to Kansas?
We saw improvement, not significant. We still have 2 players that are very green, rookies. So I think that's around 40% of your offensive line that we're still trying to bring along. People want more production quicker than it's going to happen out of our offense based on the really quality skill players we have. But it starts up front, and we're trying to bring those guys along as quick as we can. I've said this from day one, there's no substitute for in-game experience. So we have guys that don't have a lot of in-game experience up there. And Coach Dunn and the staff have to be careful about throwing them out there and putting them in a situation that can set us back. We have to determine what the risk-reward is of where we want to be from a playbook standpoint with the immature offensive linemen we have. And so we're just not as explosive as we should be based on where we're at. It's getting a little better, and have they improved? Sure they have. But we've got a long ways to go up front.
Defensively, you posted 3 sacks and, frankly, could have posted a lot more. Coming out of the opener against Tulsa, that was a concern area. There appears to have been great improvement. Number 1, has there been great improvement? Number 2, why?
Our defense has good team speed, in my opinion, and we have really quality depth. The experience that I mentioned on the offensive line that we're lacking right now, we don't have that issue on defense. So there's a formula there that allows us to be or play more reckless than we have in the past. And if you have speed on defense and you have the ability to play reckless in an attack style, and you can just hang on and hold your own from a coverage standpoint, that gives you a chance to put more pressure on the quarterback. Purdy played really good in that game if you look at the pressure that we had on him. He had a lot of pressure on him, and he's a good football player. If we would have competed against a rookie quarterback or even a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience, with the amount of pressure that we put on him, we would like to have thought we'd have forced him into more mistakes, but he's just a good operator. So we were pleased with that, and they are applying good pressure on the quarterbacks.
You were talking about the defensive depth. So let's say, for example, because of your depth, you might have a bunch of guys that play 30 to 35 plays a game, whereas in a normal year they might play 50 plays a game. Mm-hmm. How much does that matter, especially when you get into the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season?
Well, we've been fortunate that up front, our guys are playing at the most 45 plays a game. So it's a simple process. You just do the math. You get through game 5, and if you're playing 40 plays a game, you're at 200, okay? If you're at 60 through game 5, you're at 300. So at game 8, instead of being at 625, you're at almost 900. And, the math, it will tell you the wear and tear and the fatigue on your players as you go through the season.
We'll preview the Texas game when we return in a moment.
Gear up for fall at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
It's time for Ask the Coach, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Hey, Coach Gundy, how much of a role do you play in scheduling?
Peyton, I play a small role in scheduling. Most of our schedules are done 8 to 10 years in advance. In fact, I think we're pretty solid for the next 8 years now, and even some games may be scheduled 10 years out. Administration handles most scheduling. I have a little bit of input, but not a lot of scheduling.
Definitely worth it. Do you have butter lettuce over there? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay.
Just try a little bit here.
Hey, Jay, can you grab that?
We'll get right on it.
Thank you. I know how much you guys love tomatoes, so I have stories to tell you about these tomatoes.
ADM milling is really a part of the fabric of the Enid community. So if we were to have lost them, it would have been more than the 70 jobs that they employ.
OG&E, the City of Enid, and the Enid Regional Development Alliance were all great to work with. Not only does it allow for the growth of the new mill, but also the power is there to make that happen for the future.
We're back with Coach Gundy to preview Texas, and just first, some general thoughts on what Texas brings.
Well, Texas is arguably, in somebody's opinion, going to be the most talented team athletically in the conference. If you just base it on recruiting and rankings and people that put a lot of stock into that, that's going to stay consistent throughout. It has been through my career here as the head coach. Their quarterback's a really good player. We all know that. He's experienced. He likes to compete. He's physical. He's 225 pounds. They have design runs for him. He'll pull the ball down and run. I think he's their leading rusher. I think he's rushed for about 330 yards. Really good football player. Good demeanor. All the things that you look for, or we would look for in a quarterback, he seems to have that. I have to give him credit for that. They're going to play 4-2-5 on defense, so more of a 4-down than what we have seen. So we have to get a lot of work this week on 4-down with our up-front linemen. The majority of what we've worked over the last month and a half has been 3-down, because we see a lot of 3-down compared to 4-down. Up to this point, more zone coverage. So, we'll have to have some really quality practices and make those adjustments, try to be as simple as possible and not get outside of our box.
Mike Yursich is the offensive coordinator who once served as your offensive coordinator. What's he brought maybe that gives them something different than what they've had in the past?
Some tempo. The 11 personnel schemes that they're using look a lot like what Mike wants to use in his career. They still have some 12 personnel concepts, some quarterback powers, quarterback RPO stuff that I'm guessing are from prior staff or Coach Herman, whoever brought those schemes into their system. So there's a little bit of both. You know, Mike seems to be doing really well. You know, Mike's earned everything he's got. You know, when he was here with us, he was fantastic. He was very loyal, hard worker, smart guy, and has done very well. Should be a head coach someday. But you're seeing a little bit of both philosophies tied into what their offense is up through last week against Baylor.
When we return, Tevin Jenkins with an emotional tribute to his late mother. Stay with us.
You need more layers, diagonal layers.
I got it, Ron. Thanks.
Leave him alone, Dad. Oh, honey, you should use ice blocks instead of cubes.
No, Bud Light Seltzer goes on top.
Diagonal layers.
Did you pre-chill the Bud Light lemonades?
Need more ice.
And diagonal layers.
I mean, if you're gonna do it right.
I don't need my hands getting cold.
Why don't you try using the Plumsky method?
Brings out the citrus notes.
Dad?
Gotta crush the ice, son.
Okay, I'm out.
What's his problem?
Whenever packing the cooler really matters, there's a Bud Light there.
Living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/cowboysortho.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that hits especially close to home for Oklahoma State offensive lineman Teven Jenkins. Tevin's mom passed away from breast cancer when he was 6 years old. This October, Teven chose to write a letter to his late mother, letting her know just how much she still means to him.
Dear Mom, I just want to start out by saying that you are deeply missed, not only by myself, but by others you've had an impact in their lives too. I really want to say thank you for raising me and teaching me all your life lessons you could in such a short amount of time. I never knew how valuable our time was together. I know your fight with breast cancer was hard and you battled as much as you could until you couldn't anymore. That is why this month means so much to me. I ended up getting a breast cancer ribbon tattoo on my right arm for you with your birth date and the day you passed away to pay homage to you. It's there to remind me that whatever pain I'm going through, it couldn't be half the pain you were going through fighting cancer. I still think about you a lot, and I'm trying my best to make you proud of me through my actions on, but mostly off the field, because I know you raised me to be the most respectful person I could ever be. There's not a day that goes by where I wish I had your motherly touch. I can't wait for the day I get to see your beautiful, bright smile again and give you the biggest hug I could ever imagine. But until then, I'll keep on trying to make you the most proud mom. Love you always and forever. Tev.